Details on the BvS Ultimate Cut. Lex Luthor will be in Justice League, and the Flash feature film finds a dope director.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's DC Movie News.
The squad is back. Welcome, everybody, to the DC Movie News Show right here on the Popcorn Talk Network as Adam and Roxy kindly...
Pet each other?
Pet each other, I guess.
Just a little light petting.
Yep, sure, just a little light
Mild
petting.
sensuality.
Mild sensuality. Not...
Roxy went to the old studio where we haven't been in about a year.
Yeah, since September.
So proud of you.
It's been months.
That's a great
She's
move.
drunk.
That's a great move.
Wasted. Clearly.
Well, here we go, guys. This is DC Movie News here on the Popcorn Talk Network. We are at DC Movies SK. We are Facebook.com/DC Movies SK. Welcome. We got the original squad here. Last night we were saying to ourselves, not a lot of stuff going on this week. And all of a sudden, the DC
stuff.
gods said, you know what? Let's give these kids something to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give them something to talk about.
Not necessary.
Yo, we were so in tune.
Moving on.
That nailed it.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
Frightening, we're so in tune. Intros, here we go. I'm at Jay Quasto. That man right there is the host of Man vs. Child on the FYI Network and FX Movie Download. Find him on Twitter at Adam Gertler. He's also the resident worst mocker. He's Adam Gertler.
Hello. Greetings. Happy to be here.
I have your meat on the couch.
Oh, that's so great.
I grilled a bunch up
Thank you
last
for
night. It's delicious.
Thank you. That was a test. That was a tester.
No, I was like, damn.
But,
so good. So good.
Excellent, guys.
Next to him is the crown jewel of the DC Movie News Show, and she happened to drive to Encino first before coming to this studio. She's the host of very popular TV fights on Screen Junkies. Find her on Twitter at Roxy Striar, because you know she's Roxy Striar.
You know.
You know it.
Hi, guys. I'm excited that I made it to the right studio eventually to talk to you guys about all things DC except for TV time because WTF.
Right?
That's how I feel. I'm just really sad about TV not being in my life
I
right
get
now.
kind of happy because it's like you have anxiety. I don't have to keep up. I could slow down for a second. Let me catch my breath.
But
I
not
finally
even
caught
to get
up
a
on-
Preacher? Come on.
I caught up on Legends. I was excited for Preacher this week,
I
and I'm
caught
like,
up on
oh.
everything too, and I was disappointed. But
Yeah.
we could talk about that later.
Oh, really? We'll do a fake TV time.
I want to check out that Outcast.
I mean, a real TV time.
Yeah.
Anybody see the Outcast
Yeah, I
yet?
did.
The
So I
Robert
went to the
Kirkman
premiere
thing?
last night.
Oh, that's right. You were outside in the cemetery.
I was. We went to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. We saw the first two episodes.
First two.
Yeah.
And I think you can only watch the first one right now
online. Yeah. So we saw the
Whoa.
first two. It was spooky.
I heard it was great.
Yeah.
People like it a lot.
Really good, really good. And oh my God, he's just the nicest. That was my first time meeting him, and he was
You met him?
amazing. Yeah, did the red carpet and stuff.
Oh,
for us.
cool.
It was great. It
Hey.
was really awesome,
girl.
and they seemed like a great cast and great crew of people to work with. So yeah, there's stuff to tide us over in the meantime.
It seems like this is the show that if it does well, he gonna get paid on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
like the first thing, it was like not as much. The Walking Dead, and this one, it's like really his name is up in front, is really selling the show.
Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead really he sold too, and now this definitely.
Was that his idea though? I thought Fear the Walking Dead was the network's idea, and he kind of just like went with it. And it was more like we're doing this with or without you.
I don't think they were doing it without him. Could you do it without him?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, he said that kind of offhanded when he was in like the Mark Maron WTF interview, and I couldn't tell if maybe he was being a little.
bullied into it a little bit.
Well, you know what? It seemed like there was more truth to what he was saying than he was just joking. But I get it, I mean, and honestly, I kind of wish Fear the Walking Dead didn't exist. I really do think it dilutes that whole brand.
I've never seen it, and I honestly because I'm always way behind on TV shows, and the way it's been explained to me, they're like it's just like The Walking Dead, only a different cast.
And on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know about Fear, but I do know that Outcast definitely worth your time. And all DC TV is worth your time. So if you're not watching DC TV over the summer, you should watch Outcast, but
Yeah.
also Preacher.
That's right.
And there was a talking Preacher this week.
I
So
watched
that
that.
was the difference.
Very enjoyable to have those guys on the couch.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And this man right here, very talented actor and DC Encyclopedia and the host of Character Corner, which we all know and love right here on the Popcorn Talk Network. Find him on Twitter at Mike Kalinowski, because he's Mikey Christmas
Ho,
Kalinowski.
ho, 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 ho. It's only about 6 months away to Christmas.
Dude, it's
so-
June. It's June.
I know. What's it?
Why
Christmas
not?
in July is the
Yeah. That's
Christmas
a
all
halfway
year for me.
Christmas.
It's close. We're
It's getting
close.
there.
How you doing, man?
All right, doing good. Been slow this week, so it's kind of like we're in that weird season for acting and stuff. It's like pilots are over and cast. Network episodic is not picked up, so it's kind of like now it's slowing down. So I'm just kind of like, oh, all right. Well.
Doing a lot of baking?
No, I'm new diet. I can't do the baking. I've stopped that for about 8 weeks.
We're
now.
going low carb now.
Not low carb, just getting rid of I live by myself. I cook and I make, recipes they don't make for one person. It's for, a family of 5. So there I've got 2 dozen cookies at home.
That's when you need Christmas to be giving stuff
That's
away.
exactly
right.
right.
I still dream of those little bars you made.
I'll make them again.
God
almighty.
One day.
All right, well, I guess we'll get into it. Starting off, a little fun story. Why not? Stan Lee this past week was at a Comic-Con in London, I believe.
London, England, Excelsior!
And someone asked him, that's a pretty good interpretation. Someone asked him about, if we'd ever see like a DC versus Marvel kind of feature film, and if you want to do his voice, feel free.
Oh, I can't do. I just do the Excelsior.
All right, well, I'll give it a
Excelsior.
Well, that would be really terrific. And we did a Spider-Man vs. Superman comic book years ago. Of course, Spider-Man won. Big laugh from me. A big giant-sized book, which sold really well. And I don't think there will ever be a movie like that because of the lawyers and the businessmen and all the contracts. But if they ever do it, man, I think everybody would want to see that.
Excelsior! You gotta. That's his button.
There you go.
It was kind of like a Stan Lee cross with Robert De Niro.
I liked it, though.
Going on, but it worked well for me.
That's not even De Niro, is it?
I can't do his voice, but he has one of the most distinctive voices. I guess I was first introduced to that voice when, I would watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and the Hulk were back-to-back cartoons. Amazing block of television.
What will Spider-Man and Firestorm do next?
I mean, that was the first time I ever saw the X-Men, saw Captain America, those early crossovers. The fact that Stan Lee is still appearing in these movies,
I know.
It's amazing. And I just heard he said that he was going to do his next 3 cameos at once, which means they're starting to bank his cameos.
Is that because he might be dying soon?
Well, he's 93. I mean, let's get them in the... They might as well just put him in.
He's 93?
Yes. He's a very youthful 93.
He is.
Given what he said, though, do you guys think that we will ever see anything like this? I mean, he says no because of the lawyers, but do you think we could ever see some sort of DC Marvel crossover?
And I only say that because I was thinking about this today, and I'm kind of really caught up in DC's rebirth right now. And it just has me so nostalgic for... I read my old comics, and there were Marvel DC crossovers every year, comics, and I forgot who it was Axel Alonso and Didio and those guys, but Marvel and DC do not talk now comic side.
Oh yeah,
they're done. Yep. And they used to. I remember there was Amalgam where they took a DC and a Marvel character and they bashed them together and they created a new superhero and they did one shots on those. Once a year they did these great crossovers and. There is so much hate. Well,
they're on opposite coasts now. Now you got a real West Side, East Side,
West Side
rap battle going on. But you know what? Casada was just on Fat Man on Batman, and he the competition still goes. Good weeks. Both in the news, big for comics this week. A lot of people talking about the Captain America Steve Rogers reveal, and a lot of people talking about Rebirth. So I just think it's good that comics are in the news and people are reading them. Yeah. I mean, I love that Rebirth. I enjoyed the heck out of that comic more than a lot of the 52 stuff.
What's in your drink today? I'm excited. You're
it's
so
water.
happy.
Hey, yeah, I'm happy.
I love it.
Yeah, but no, you're right. I think money, when it comes down to it, money and greed is probably going to keep it from. Because right now you have Marvel saying, well, hey, we have the conglomerate of money right now. We're making a lot more.
I got to tell you, I don't like these crossovers because what I like about comics and the movies is getting so invested in the world. And when you do that one-shot crossover stuff, it just means a lot less.
Mm-hmm. You're talking in the comics?
Yeah, just in general. So, I would think that it would be the same kind of thing in the movies. It just doesn't mean a lot. I got, Batman and Captain America teaming up and Superman versus the Hulk, but it doesn't feel like you're in the world. And what I like is the investment in the world. That's what it's like your stories. It's the soaps, except with punching. That's what they are.
All right.
That's why with the Captain America thing, it's guys, they're soap operas. All My Children has done that many times. Sure. It's all good.
One Life to Live, General Hospital, Plus Files, all things I watched every day.
More spandex and more punchy kicky.
And pro wrestling. Those are my
same idea.
Stories.
Exactly. Same idea.
A lot of swerves. So we'll see what happens there. Let's get to BvS Ultimate Cut details. First up, I want to give the details and then watch the trailer. How about that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Nobody else was saying anything.
Good energy. Good energy.
Go off on Roxy's call.
I appreciate you. Sure. I appreciate you. All right, so we got both posters we're going to get. We got a 3D and 2D Blu-ray discs and ultraviolet digital copy. Target is going to release an exclusive digibook packaging, a 64-page book featuring content, and it's going to have the theatrical and extended cuts. So,
Cool.
I don't know what the price
This
tag
one doesn't seem like retailer exclusives per se that are great.
What?
Target usually does I usually buy my DVDs at Target only because they usually will get exclusive, like a special disc with behind the scenes stuff on it. They did that with Mission Impossible. It was like 60 minutes of behind the scenes stuff. So this one, it doesn't seem like any retailer's getting anything great other than different packaging.
Sure.
The Target's getting a book, but it's just a smaller version with, a quarter of the art book.
They're ramping up for a big, presentation for this, obviously the extended cut and all that we're going to talk about, but you got to think that the luster is lost a little bit by the mediocre reception. There's a lot less heat going into this, into the home versions. I mean, if this was a film that was widely loved, I got to think that there'd be a lot more hype surrounding this.
Do they always release a trailer for an extended cut of something?
They don't always rate an extended cut. More often than
Right.
not, if there's additional content, they just put it out as unrated. So I find it very interesting. Why did they go to
But
the
they marketed
trouble
it that way.
of having it R-rated? Because usually extended cut is just unrated, and then you can do what you want because it's not getting a theatrical release.
Because they're trying to tell people all right, this is for you. If you didn't like this because it wasn't dark and gritty enough for you,
I agree
some
with you.
sensuality,
I agree
doggy
with you.
style,
and a lot more
Back to our
soups,
basics.
apparently,
I
right?
disagree with that. I think this is the movie that, okay, the big problem is, for me, the Africa stuff at the beginning. It's he saves Lois, and then it's hey, they're going to hold trial on you.
Are you not talking
Right.
about the trailer, or are you talking about what we saw from
I'm
the
talking
movie?
about everything.
Okay.
Should we watch the trailer first then?
Yeah, I think
let's
we
get
need
into
to
the
watch
trailer.
it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Let's get into the trailer.
Let's make it happen.
Who is that?
That was Adam?
I know
That was
but-
me.
Men with power obey neither policy nor principle. No one is different. No one is neutral.
This VO not in the film, right?
If Superman were here, what would you want to say to him?
That my family too had dreams.
Yeah.
That's
To
not
look
in
him
the.
his
That's not
eye
in the movie.
And ask him how he decides.
None of
which
these
lives
images are,
count
and
That was not. That's a huge
and which
right there.
ones do not.
Yeah.
That's not the movie.
See, there you go. There's a lot of stuff.
Not in the movie.
June 20th.
Not in the
Is
movie.
that what it said?
Yeah.
Not in the movie.
Lottery ticket?
Yeah, that little thing,
Not in
he's
the movie.
angry and he's hunting.
Kill those men if that's what they think.
Not in the movie.
This is what makes you such a good reporter. Stuff like
Jenna,
this.
Jenna Malone.
Definitely.
God,
wow.
Older now than my father.
Wait, this line.
was. This may be the only thing
Wait.
I do that matters.
So falls the house of
Whoa, he's at the Wayne Manor. We didn't see that, did we?
Yeah, that.
Oh, we did see a little
But not
bit
the
of
line
that.
with Alfred.
Powerful, you cannot be outdone.
the world only
What's your
makes
favorite, Lex
sense
Luthor?
if you force it to.
Men like that, words don't stop.
Well, they do a great job of
This is
showing
not
new
in.
footage.
That's not in either.
That girl wasn't.
Yeah.
That shot wasn't.
She got some frizzy hair.
That dream is all some people
I got some
have.
lotion for you.
I don't know, man. I'm stoked for this.
Now God is good.
Is this, obviously they can't show too much R-rated, but what part of this that we're seeing, I'm curious.
We have to.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a big thing people had a problem with, and it was a little jarring for me, was the Africa stuff.
Blu-ray,
He
July.
saves Lois, and then the next scene, she's like, "They're gonna hold trial on you." We don't understand, how did all the Africans die in that village? This is huge. That Africa stuff is huge in this
Yeah.
movie. You see the drones going in and with missiles, and all that happens. Then you see the repercussions because the lady that was testifying in DC, she's being interviewed on news. I mean, that scene with him outside, because everyone was like, "Oh, he's standing there in the fire after the Senate blows up, and then it's over." Well, that's
Yeah.
him walking outside with people around him,
Yeah.
and he looks at Lois. I think this is going to give people, when you're making a film and you got to cut it down. When they said the film was originally 4 hours long,
Yeah.
your pacing sacrifices, it gets choppy. I think this is the film we should have been given originally.
We got an extra 30 minutes, right?
You got money execs in a 3-hour film, and
If that's the case, then I certainly take a lot more of the blame for the mediocre reception off of Zack Snyder,
Yeah.
because I know it was a team effort and the executives and everyone, and there's universe building. If that's the case, then what they put out, you can only really judge on what they put out in the theaters. I mean,
Right.
because
Not
that's
on what's the cutting
and
room floor
look
or
at-
what's in the
yeah,
DVD.
and Eisenberg and Irons have been saying it was muddled, this and that, because they were on set, they were filming,
Yeah.
they knew what got cut. after they saw the movie. And then there's the scenes of Clark actually doing reportive work looking for Batman. That scene where he's trying to give the guy with the clue the bat symbol, he scratches on a scratcher. It's like there's so much there.
I'm just still confused about what we were talking about earlier, this being announced as R-rated. When we're watching this, I'm like, but what? What part?
Well, they're not going to show you in that trailer.
I know they're not, but what they're showing us is what it is that they're going to show us, the scenes they're going to show us. So
it's
even
more
extending
violent.
those.
It's more violent.
They say the warehouse scene is really violent. Yeah, more so than
which
the
is
movie.
exciting.
And that's what bumps it up to the R-rated, just
You'd be
the
surprised
violence?
between something that is like Kill Bill, that movie, the second one I believe it was, or the first one, that escaped its rating because they took the scenes and made it black and white. It was still the same, but red blood, if you turn it black and white, is no longer R-rated. It's PG-13. The censors are so. It's so asinine what is R and what is PG-13.
Here's actually a tweet from Larry Fong, who's the BvS cinematographer. I like this. He goes, "Those of you who are fans will dig it. If you hated it, you'll still hate it."
That's great. I saw people responded to that.
All right.
Good. I think that's a great response. Hey, I get no problem with the cinematography of this film. The movie looks great. My biggest problems with the film are characterizations of the two leads that I feel like are departures. Now, I want to talk about this a little bit because I feel like with Superman, there's a big challenge there. It's like, how do you make him relevant to the modern world, right? And I know that they made a choice. Not everybody agrees with the choice. I don't necessarily agree with the choice. You have a similar problem with Captain America, right? And you could say that they made choices to change Captain America and that he's more questioning the government. With Superman, you went darker with him. Okay, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. My biggest problem with Batman was that scene when he's saying things like, "You're not a man, you never were a man." I'm like, when did he become this like frat boy kind of, high school bully jock? That to me is not characteristic. Now, the issue about the excessive violence of Batman, which was a little bit addressed in the film, and then in this trailer, they address that more. See, that to me could have been cleared up more by focusing on that more, that he's acting out of character. Then I buy it more. But it was just a few passing references.
Have you thought of this line? Because someone was talking to me on Twitter about this. The line of 20 years in Gotham, how many good men are left? How many stay that way? What if he's talking about himself?
Right.
That's great. Yeah, I always think about that line.
And the branding, he was never branding anyone before this movie. He starts branding in this movie.
Totally.
I think we're missing some key things that are
going
aside.
to be cleared up.
I agree.
I think so.
I'm stoked. I think that extra 30 minutes is going to really play into
To me, the biggest problems with Batman's characters are that kind of like, you're not a man, you don't know what it's like to be a man. Batman would never say that. And also, when they confront each other, he seems so, just ignoring any logic, which is like his brain is so tight.
And how are we? Well, okay, let's talk Jenna Malone in this movie. It looked like she's wearing a wig and glasses. We were talking about, some people online said Cat Grant she is. What if she's working for Bruce undercover to get information on Superman?
Yeah, I love that. And I still think that Eastwood is going to be.
Oh, I hope so.
I really still believe that.
I don't think so. I don't think it is.
I do, because I think he's the perfect age.
I want to believe that.
And I think he's the perfect look.
I don't think they would go that
intricate
with it.
I do, especially with the listen.
know.
And I'm not usually a fan of Batman having a whole team.
So intricate to begin with, though.
But
we're talking this movie.
Check
we're not
this
talking
out,
Suicide
though.
Squad.
But the older Batman, I could see him having some more soldiers.
Yeah,
I really love the idea of that, especially since with the news that like he is Jason Todd. If that dead Robin is Jason Todd, then no, I don't need to see a Red Hood right away. But I do need to see a Dick Grayson.
The thing that makes me is that Bruce. Affleck was on set of Suicide Squad in his Bruce Wayne wig and suit and stuff. So that to me is like, okay, I get Batman being in it, arresting Joker, Harley Quinn, whatever. But so the fact that he's there as Bruce Wayne, maybe talking to Dick Grayson somewhere, that to me, like he wouldn't meet Waller as Bruce Wayne. I don't know why Bruce Wayne would be in this movie unless it's to talk to Grayson.
Yeah. I really think that that's a thing that's happening.
I hope so.
I really think
one thing I need to say about the movie, and again, this is a point of contention with everyone, the Martha bit.
Oh yeah.
Someone posted to me the closed caption version, and it's crappily edited. The way that they did it, he's saying he's got Martha Kent. He's not saying he's got Martha. He's not like my mom's saying. He's telling him this is this person he's got. But the way that it's edited and they're putting Bruce Wayne talking over and grunting, to me that is a small change that makes more sense. If he's saying he's got this woman Martha Kent.
No, that makes less sense.
You mean he has her?
He
has Martha Kent.
Hate to pick on you here, but that makes less sense.
Why?
Because if he says Martha, then Bruce could think he's talking about his mother. But if he says Martha Kent, why did you say that name? It
Because
doesn't
he
hit
says
him as
this
personally.
person, I have to find this person.
Agree to disagree.
All right.
I don't buy that. I think it actually makes less
The
sense.
Martha thing is still haunting me in my freaking
Because
sleep
it's
right now.
not.
Did the random
great.
Tony Stark's mother bother you in Civil War?
I didn't see it yet. Damn it.
Yeah, oh.
Well, I didn't give it
That's
away.
on you, brother. That's been
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
for a long time.
that's been on you.
I literally have not.
Anyway, we're not going to get into that. It's
Yeah.
over and done
I
with.
literally have not had time to see it.
yeah.
We're over and done with.
People
We're
in
not
chat
gonna
roll are saying it is confirmed to be Jason Todd. I mean, as far as I know, the only confirmation is from a tour guide.
No, I'm not taking that tour guide BS.
I mean-
I'm not. I work with tour guides. I've been a tour guide for Universal. You can say whatever you want on those tours.
Yeah.
The Psycho House that is on that property, we're told to say it is the original Psycho House. It's not the original Psycho House.
Right.
It was used for Psycho 3. Do not buy what a
Psycho
tour guide...
3, my favorite of the series.
But do not buy what a tour guide says on a tour. It's not...
I wonder if you got canned.
Okay, aside from the tour guide being confirmation or
Ringing
not,
endorsement.
do you think
No.
it's Jason Todd's suit?
I don't know. But seeing it up close, there's no bullet holes in it like everyone talks about. I don't know if it was lighting or weird something, but on that suit, there are no bullet holes right here.
I wonder if he got canned for saying that.
He won't because it wasn't a big deal. It's like...
Yeah.
Those tour guides, they can say whatever they want. There's no...
Johnny, it's your
Well,
words.
listen, I will
Words.
say this. While I do have problems with the characterization of both Batman and Superman in this film, I'm very hopeful that when Superman comes back from the dead, spoilers, he's dead, then we have an opportunity to play with perspective.
And Batman is now going to be different as well.
Here's a great comment from Gregory Castillo in chat roll. Gertler versus Christmas, ultimate cut.
That's right.
I'm in on it.
All right, Roxy, I know you're going to be excited about this, I think.
What's up, Johnny?
Jesse Eisenberg confirmed at MCM London Comic-Con this week that Lex Luthor will be in Justice League. Here's his quote, and then I will pass the floor to you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a waiting pattern. They just started filming Justice League, so I'm kind of just waiting for my crack at it. I don't know what I'm allowed to say because I feel like there's probably some drone following me from DC, and if I say anything wrong, I get, picked off. But I love it, and I love everyone who's in it. It's a really talented group of people.
He's just like a tour guide. Not allowed to say anything,
Nope.
right, Mikey Christmas?
Well, he's learned his lesson, right?
Yeah, I know some people have major issues with him. He was one of my favorite parts of the film. I thought he nailed it. I'm excited to see this. I never doubted that he would be in Justice League, so this was just confirmation of something that I was pretty positive about already.
Yeah.
I thought we all,
It would have been silly if he wasn't in it because he really introduces the concepts of it.
If he wasn't going to be in it, it would have been what we were talking about now. Everybody trying to course correct. There would have been some weird thing going on because I think even the people who are fans of this movie didn't tend to like Jesse Eisenberg in this, like you, Mikey Christmas.
Mm-hmm. But I admired what he did. I think it was something different.
And there were parts that there were literally scenes that I liked with him, and then scenes that I thought were so off the rails.
Up until he went to the Kryptonian ship, I was on board with him. And
I love when he's walking, that shot of his shoes, and he's walking down with the briefcase. I love that. I love him with the candy.
Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
I just wanted Jolly Rancher from Jesse.
I even love when he's kind of giving the speech at the party, but I don't love the rooftop stuff.
After the Kryptonian ship,
exactly.
And
as long
could
as
this be fixed in the Ultimate Cut? Is there stuff in that Kryptonian ship? We know of the scene with Steppenwolf in there.
Mm-hmm.
So will it explain?
I'd like to hope there's something more with Jesse Eisenberg in there that would explain the switch. Speaking of breaking news that we've had, The Flash now has a director. I already forgot how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah, we rehearsed it too.
Mr. Dope.
Fumiawa. Yeah.
Yes, he was the director of the film Dope that
one
came
of the best
out
movies of last year.
About a year ago, yeah.
It was a huge movie last year. Big critical darling. A critical darling it was last year.
I wouldn't say it's a huge movie, but yeah, critical darling.
As far as being so small,
Because
it came
it
out
was
of
shot on all iPhones, and that gave it a lot of credit.
It was?
I would say it's as big
but it's
a
a
film.
good movie.
Something like that with or all natural light, mostly on phones. There was some crazy thing about the way that it was shot.
It is as big a film for the superhero genre as Cake is for women in superhero films. I would think that's fair to say. What? That's a callback for
And
some old
still-
Roxy
still
Striar
Alice,
stuff.
Really old.
And still Alice.
What did I miss? Is that from before my time?
Yeah. But I will tell you guys that little tangent. I'm really bummed about Dope because I wanted to see Dope and they offer it on every single airplane. But when I get on the airplane to watch it, I tweeted out saying, "Should I see Dope?" And everybody says you can't watch it on the airplane. They cut out 2 scenes that make the movie what it is. You won't be able to understand what's happening on it. So
Really?
I have yet to see Dope.
I have
Netflix? Do you have Netflix?
Do you want to rent it or something and watch it?
Yeah.
Want to go to
I think I
Blockbuster?
have the screener of it.
You do?
The word screen, I
Yeah,
think so.
it's
I'll give
stupid
it
that I
to you.
haven't seen it yet, but I hear amazing things. What do you guys think about him directing The Flash? Interesting choice. Dope is obviously a very different tone.
Up and comer. Why not?
So we have the Lord and Miller treatment for the film, the script by Graham Smith, right? The guy that was originally attached to direct it, and now this guy being brought on. I mean, I got to be positive about it. If things are moving forward.
Oh, sorry, guys. Tangerine was the one that was shot like that.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
You know, it's an interesting choice. Like, yeah, up-and-coming filmmaker. Dope is a real character piece. Flash, you want to have a lot of character. You got to buy into the world of this guy. It's a real... There's going to be a quirky humor to the film that we already, you know, kind of got from what we saw in BvS. I loved the Flash in BvS. Like, I like that little bit of characterization. I thought he brought a lot to so little screen time that I'm very encouraged. So I think this is good news. I mean, you know, until it's bad news, it's good news.
Well, Roxy, we'll go get Dope at Blockbuster. We'll find him when it's open. We'll rent it.
You think you're existing in the time of
Earth.
the music that the lead character liked.
Yeah, Blockbuster's on Earth 1. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go to Earth 1 and find a Blockbuster.
That's funny. The character is obsessed with the 90s and 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
am I. It's
that
me.
was also around the rise of Blockbuster Video. So
Essentially me.
Enjoy it.
They're all me. Yeah. All right. So yeah, good stuff there. We're looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and that just dropped about 2 hours ago. So party on. Jeremy Irons, we already mentioned this earlier in the show. He didn't mince words when talking about BvS. He says...
I was surprised that he came out this strongly with it.
Well, you know, he's Jeremy Irons.
I love it. He's an old British actor. He's allowed to say whatever the heck he wants.
And he's really good. He says,
I kind of appreciate this rather than him saying, I don't know what people thought. I thought the film was fine. You know, like, he's like, well, rightly so. It's a bit muddled, you know. He's like, well, I'm signed up for the Batman, which is good because
I think Johnny was going to read the quote.
Yeah, no.
I've
got it quite interpreted here, you know. Not that I need to get money, but it's good to have it keep ticking over.
Do you want to do it in Michael Caine voice?
That's it.
You could read the quote.
That's not Michael Caine.
Okay, sorry.
He would be
then
insulted.
Can you do a British accent, though, and read it?
No, I can't do a British accent.
I can do it.
Every time I try and do British, it comes out as Michael Caine.
Right there.
Hello, governor.
Perfect. That's all I want.
What?
Deservedly so. I mean, it took 800 million.
No.
So the kicking didn't matter, but it was sort of overstuffed. It was very muddled.
Are you having a laugh? Are you having a laugh at me?
I think
Just
the
having a
next
piss.
one will be simpler. The script is certainly a lot smaller. It's more linear.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I like what he said, you know, because it's fair. But
my lord.
Do you think you know, what people were sort of hanging on was he's like, well, I'm tied into the Batman. So people have taken that to mean like that's confirmation of the title of the solo film. I took it more as just that he's tied into the Batman universe, meaning like this film and the next film. Meaning
We
Justice
need to
League.
stop taking what people say literally.
Yeah.
There's a huge thing. No, I'm not segueing real
What do
quick.
you mean by that, Mike?
Okay, great example. The guy that's doing the Power Rangers film about a week ago said, you know what, we're going to make these. I can see us doing 6 or 7 of these.
Right.
Every, you know, heroic Hollywood, Power Rangers making 6 or 7 movies. Going to make 6 No, he said, well, we're going to make, I can see us doing 6 or 7 of these. And now they retracted it. It's like, it's an interview. The guy's talking. Like, this guy, we can't take everything these guys say as that's
But what do you take about the tone of what he said? Does that bother you? Or do you think, because I know you're like a sports guy, do you think he should back the franchise no matter what, or do you think it's fair of him to speak his mind?
He filmed his movie. He knew what got cut. He's like, well, what we filmed wasn't what we saw on the
That's not what he
screens.
said? That's not what he said?
He's saying it's muddled.
Yeah.
So what they filmed, he knew.
But that's not what he said.
You think when he's sitting there making the movie, they're sitting there doing lines like, oh, this is muddled, guys. Can we work this out? No, it
the movie was
perfectly.
muddled.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
I don't know that that's true. I'm just saying you can't take a quote that he didn't say.
Right.
You're interpreting something that he didn't say. He said the movie was muddled. He didn't say that what we shot was perfect. He doesn't refer to what they shot. So, again, you know.
So you think he was making the movie the whole time going, oh, this is shit, it's muddled. Why is this going to go up on the big screen?
I think it's really hard to see when you're in the trenches.
stuff.
I think it's hard when you're filming this to be like, ooh, maybe this isn't good. That's not what an actor's job is. An actor's job is to do their job and be in character.
And your actor's job is to know your entire script, and you've got it in front of you, and you know from point A to point B where your character goes. If from point A to point B...
Yeah, but what your character does in a script and what the script looks like isn't necessarily how it's shot or what it looks like on
that's
camera.
what I'm saying. It's out of his...
We'll have to have this conversation
know what happened when
after June 29th, but I'm saying I do think it was muddled in the production. That's the point of view that I'm taking, is that it was muddled because when the film that they started evolved as they went, and it was muddled.
Well,
I think it was muddled all over the place, and I think that's... So if we see the film on the 28th and we're like, wow, that was perfect, that make perfect sense, then, great. Then we can... And I'll be like, wow, you know what? That's the one that they should have put out.
I think also when they made the film originally, I do think they knew they were going to have to cut it to a certain time. That's my guess. That one comment.
Of course. I mean, I think it's clear that you're not gonna find the greatest success putting out a 3-hour film. But you know what? Zack Snyder said that it was the studio that gave him carte blanche. He said that it was him that wanted to cut the film more. Zack Snyder is the one that said, and you go back and look at this quote. He said that the original cut was way longer, and it was really him that wanted to cut it. At least that's what he inferred. That it wasn't the studio that insisted that he cut it.
I guess once we see Ultimate Cut, we'll decide if that was a good decision or not. Because I think people would have been fine with a half hour.
What's so interesting is that the entire chat wants us to move on from this, but I feel like this is one of our only pieces of news from
I know, right? They just want to see us love each other.
What do you guys
That's
want?
all.
You
They
want to
just
talk
don't
about
want to see us
TV
fight.
shows that didn't air so the UK's actually caught up? I mean, what else are we going to do?
We got a list here. We got the list.
No, here's a story.
Yeah, let's go on the list.
So Stephen Amell was on Larry King Now. Stephen Amell, hello.
That's good.
Thank you.
I thought mine was really good, and none of you guys gave me the credit that
Your
I deserved.
English was
so
good?
Now I will
You
not
can
be
go back
giving
and watch the
credit.
playback on this episode. Look at
Now
my
I will
face
not
during
be
your
giving
English
credit
accent.
where credit is due elsewhere because I did not get what I deserved.
I think Larry King is fantastic. Continue, Larry.
His name is Stephen Amell from CW Green Arrow. Hello. What do you have to say? Well, what did he say? He said, I've spoken with people within DC, and they've said there's no plan to bring Green Arrow to the cinematic universe, but things change. So.
Okay. This is no surprise.
What Stephen Amell, I know we'll talk about Willa Holland, what she comes out and says, what Grant Gustin has come out and said, what all the CW people have come out and said, is that they're frustrated. And I understand it. They're frustrated that they weren't cast in the movies. They're frustrated that these universes are not tied together. They're frustrated that their characters may or may not be being seen on the big screen. There's a lot of different levels to this.
Are they
and I get it. What?
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if they're frustrated when they cash their series regular paychecks and have steady work for 10 months out of the year.
Right.
I don't think so.
I'm not saying they're right. I'm saying I get it. I get Stephen Amell, who is sitting there because everybody is still upset when this article comes up. Everybody's like, "Oh, remember back in the day when you stood up for Grant Gustin when The Flash was cast and they didn't cast Barry Allen as Grant Gustin?" And Stephen Amell came out and said, "You guys should have picked Grant Gustin." Now, I understand what he was doing. I think that it was a sweet sentiment. What he was doing was also setting himself up so if there was a Green Arrow in the universe, it wasn't like I should be the Green Arrow. It was like we all should have been all of those roles. But at the same time, this is a decision that the DC cinematic universe is making, or the DCEU, I guess, because it's including the TV universe. This is the decision. So they made this decision. It's not like they're including Grant Gustin, but they're not including Stephen Amell. It's not like they're including Stephen Amell, but not Grant Gustin. They made this choice. It's on a different Earth, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. I'm fine with the decision. I mean,
I'm fine with it too.
TV actors, there's film actors. Some people can obviously do both.
You're not going to see Chris Evans popping up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a 5-minute cameo.
Well, we did.
You know Chris Evans?
Well, in like flashbacks and scenes, and
That
we
was
saw
already
that
filmed
little
and they
Stark in the
clipped it.
first, yeah.
He did not walk onto the set at ABC Studios with his Captain America outfit to film it.
No.
Look at a perfect example is Jamie Alexander. Look at her when she's on Thor.
Didn't look
beautiful
right?
costume, this expensive. They show up on S.H.I.E.L.D. She looked like someone that bought a party supermarket. It's like you can't.
I agree, but
you can't do it.
Guys, I'm gonna make everyone
Sam
happy
Jackson
and
did.
really,
Cool.
really agree with Mike Kalinowski here. I've always said that this was a bad idea. I never thought just like the tone and the look and the feel are so different. Like I just don't think anybody here knows what they're talking about.
No,
like,
I don't.
And while I like that the Netflix Marvel is in the same world as the cinema Marvel, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel, I think it feels really. It just the look just looks totally wacky. It just doesn't feel like the same world.
So you're saying the Netflix world does though?
No, I was watching. I'm probably on my seventh bin watching of Daredevil season 2. It's probably my favorite thing Marvel has done. But now, after watching that in Civil War, I cannot see Charlie Cox on an Avengers movie.
Could you see Rosario Dawson?
Nope.
You could not see her coming in on an Avengers movie.
It's different. It is different. The tone of like Civil War, it's like things are blowing up, but it's fun and we're having fun and the stakes. It's just a different vibe they've created.
Well, don't tell
and the directors, Russo brothers, have now said, you know, it's tough. I don't know if we can make it work anymore.
Right. Marvel TV and Marvel Comics are now in the same sort of pocket, and the studio is totally different. And this is also from that same Quesada interview. Like Quesada will talk about the TV, which Loeb runs, right? And then the comics. And yes, they're
different.
still affiliated, but Marvel Studios is totally separate
It
right
is.
now.
I don't disagree. I do not
So, Mike,
disagree.
I mean, Johnny, what were you going to say?
Who does disagree? Willa Holland from Arrow. She was.
Yeah, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, she had some crazy choice words this week. She says, it was annoying at first, and then when Steven found out there was going to be a Justice League movie, it only seemed rightly so that he should be playing Green Arrow on as well as Grant playing Flash. It seemed like the right normal answer. Once they said no, you can't really fight against them for it because they are the people that gave us the job in the first place. You have to sit on your hands and be like, okay, I get it. And then she also said Suicide Squad pretty much ruined Harley Quinn for the show as well as their Arkham Asylum. So she's, to me, this is someone, I don't know how well she knew what...
I gotta say, I'm really contradicting myself right here because I want to hear Jeremy Irons talk about that stuff, and I want this girl to shut the hell up.
Right.
And maybe that's just because Jeremy Irons has earned that respect over like a 35-year career, and like I don't know who this person is. She's like a mediocre actress at best, who's really lucky to be a series regular on this show.
Very talented actress.
Okay, that's your
My
opinion.
guess is she didn't know the world before she got the job, and so she doesn't really quite get it on that level, is my guess.
Again, guys, you're thinking about this too big. You have a job. They have a job. Now, their job is to be on this TV show, and they see opportunity to be in the movies, and they think we could do that. And you think, all right, this is my co-star. He shows up to work every day. I want to fight for him. I don't think she's legitimately a DC person who, like we can sit down and be like, well, she knows what she's talking about. She's thinking about what's best for this universe. She's thinking about her co-star. She's thinking about getting him a job.
That's all it is.
Right, and I. So again, like I said, I get it. I get what they're doing, and I appreciate what they're doing for each other. Now, is it the right move? I don't think so. Especially Willa Holland, who I do think is a very talented actress, but is clearly the most mentally checked out human being.
Cal Alfan 49 says Amel sucked in TMN2, and X Shiny Diver X says Adam, stop being a jackass.
Yeah. I heard Amel's like the best thing in the movie. I heard he's like charismatic and like it brings a lot of fun to the movie. Oh,
look, everything's subjective. Everything's subjective.
Okay, I'll say this: Amel. Could I see him 5 years from now, longer hair, a goatee, showing up as as a Green Arrow in the cinematic universe? I could see that, sure. But the CW Arrow thing, no, he would not fit with Ben Affleck on the big screen.
Okay, take Amel out of it. Do you want to see Green Arrow in the film?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, throw a goatee on him. There's Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, right there, done.
Cameo, or you legitimately want that, like...
He should be in it. He's part of the league. He's in there.
Okay.
Sylvia Love says Gustin don't even do Comic-Cons.
What?
I don't think that's true.
Wasn't he at the last one?
I don't know. I just randomly picked a comment and said it.
All right. Hey. Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay then. Russell Crowe actually said this week after he was being interviewed by someone, he said, talking about Superman movies that were supposed to happen prior to, BvS, I guess. He said there were a number of Superman movies, but I think they made the decision to jump past those and go to the idea of Batman and Superman in the same film. And you might remember back in October 2014, right before the show started, Warner Brothers did say there would be a new Superman solo film. So I guess they kind of... He signed on for a bunch of
Russell
movies.
Crowe makes me giggle. Just like...
Did you see Nice Guys?
Oh, he's awesome.
I did.
Oh, I
did see that.
I've heard so many weird things about him. People that have like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Like sex things?
No, a disaster to work with.
Oh.
Yeah, no, and I don't think very positive things about him, but I think he's a great performer. And listening to him
Do you
talk
guys think
about
he'll be
this-
back? Do you think we'll see Jor-El in any capacity?
He signed on for stuff. I mean,
I feel like we will.
I think he's in there.
Possibly in that trippy resurrection situation. Like, we don't know how Superman's coming back.
Nope.
Okay? I could certainly see some sort of Jor-El ghost kind of thing. Like, if he's going to be with the, what's the name for the thing in the Fortress of
Helix.
Yeah, either
The
that
computer?
or there's also the other thing that he was like locked inside the Matrix or something.
The
when
birthing chamber. Yeah,
The birthing chamber.
The Codex.
The Codex.
Is that thing we're talking
I'm
about?
thinking about the one from the comics that like he was actually okay.
Elron.
Elron, yes.
Elron was in there.
Was that
Elron?
I don't know. I think. Do you guys think we're going to see Russell again? I do think we'll see him in some kind of trippy sequence.
Even during Man of Steel, he was so. I've heard mixed stories about him. From also working as a guide for
From
studios.
Russell?
You know, some people say when he takes trips with his family, he shies away from people, and then other people said nope, he'll see people and like, you want a picture? Come on over. And he'll take the camera and take a picture with them. It just depends on his mood that day.
Well, he's a smoker. Maybe when he's trying to give up smoking.
I
on
remember
certain
during Man of
days, he's
Steel,
not cool.
he was so into this movie and wanting to promote it and talk about it, and he loved it. So I think he's disappointed he didn't get his second film. I would have loved to see a Michael Shannon movie of Zod and Jor-El before Kal-El. I would love to see that on Krypton. That's a movie.
Well, maybe they're both going to be on the Sci-Fi show. That's definitely something that could happen.
Yeah, those two actors are going to pop on Sci-Fi Channel.
But yeah, they're signed to the full season.
Oh, yeah. Charlie Hunnam, he would make a great Oliver Queen.
Terrible.
You know what we haven't gotten to yet? Suicide Squad posters.
Oh, yeah, posters.
Let's go squad.
Let's break up all this yapping and check out some cool
For the
posters.
rest of the episode, I'll just talk in my British accent.
So, I love that.
Gonna do
Stop.
it for the rest of the time.
Did you hear this? Somebody just said they heard Tom Welling was trying to get Tom Welling to guest as the actual
Really?
Superman.
I think that would
On
be
Supergirl?
great.
Yeah, on Supergirl or on something.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
Look
there
at
we
this
go.
poster.
First things first, you got everyone on there. Solid.
I like that.
We'll just run down there you go. So someone in chat roll just
Jawline
mentioned
game
that
strong.
this is Jason Todd Jokerized. That's what someone in chat roll, a couple people have said.
Oh, that is trolling.
Again, that's not. Please.
I'm just saying that's what they're saying.
That is not true until
Wow,
it's true.
What
What kind of bat stance is that? How's she holding that?
I don't know. I was thinking that.
How's she holding that bat? What's
No, she's holding it like she's gonna poke you. Oh,
like this? Like
poke you.
That's she's holding it just so you could read the good night.
Okay,
That's
I
the
think
best
so.
one.
She's about to do something. There's dead shot.
All right. I like with the mask on.
Oh yeah.
Give me the mask.
And lastly, the
We can't keep the mask on too long though.
KWAD.
Yeah, it's Will Smith. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
You got to show that
money
mug.
face, yeah.
Did you guys see? I think it was Empire Magazine. It was the Joker, and they had those. I don't know what they're. They're on desks, and it's a little ball, and you pick it up, and it smacks back and forth.
Oh no!
And he's going like this, and it's Harley, and the rest are there.
That's cool.
I think it's Empire Magazine. It just came out recently. Oh, it's so good looking. But it's him with the Harley showing that's the wrecking ball, and it caused all the problems.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, posters are cool. This is the kind of thing that when I go to the movies and I start to see these, I'm going to get really, really excited. And you know what, guys? It's like in a month, we're going to start hearing about actual screenings of this movie, too. Like,
yeah.
Because it'll be July.
There was a screening.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We did hear the early screenings.
The
yeah.
tweets that
That's
came
right,
out.
that's right.
Yeah, I
know, but we're
believe
going
in
to start to
those
hear from people that we actually know.
and trust,
And
yeah.
that's different. Yeah.
I don't
But-
believe in those because
Then I don't have to make up the tone in which people tweeted things out like I did with Adam last week.
Right. No, listen, like I said, there's no reason to be anything but positive until there's a reason to be anything other than that. And,
Okay, here's a.
okay, give it to me, Mikey.
Well,
do you
we were
guys
talking
think
about this
about-
movie. Remember we were talking about reshoots on this movie, and everyone's
Yeah.
like more fun, this and that. And if you notice the tone online, there have been Rogue One, massive reshoots happening, and being said to add more fun because it's not. But no one's talking about it. I mean, the little bit, but it wasn't
Yeah.
the murmurs that this movie got.
I'll tell
And
you.
I hate that.
Well, I'll tell you why, and here's why. First of all, they're coming off a really well received film.
Okay, so it's the
And
goodwill, the goodwill
it's
factor.
goodwill.
All right.
Goodwill goes a long way, and
I'll step back then,
and I
but-
will say, like, one of the things I was excited about Rogue One is that it was going to be like this,
The
like,
darkness.
right? And they're
Yes.
hedging their bet, maybe, but
I think they're
that
like-
might be the right call
But I
because
think that them seeing it going, oh, this doesn't fit like episode 7. This is different.
Gareth
Which is what I
Edwards-
think everyone wants is this different. So Suicide Squad.
I don't think of Gareth Edwards as having like a light tone with
No.
like humor. Like,
No, I think-
Godzilla's pretty dire.
Yeah.
The Monsters movie was kind of dire.
But again, reshoots are common. These are, but they
yeah.
they really got on top of this going, no,
Right,
we
but
are
the thing
adding
with
more
this is,
fun.
like, but the Rogue One
They've
thing is
said
they're saying
this.
the executives are not happy.
And Suicide Squad, that wasn't
Okay,
ever said. They
no.
were just said, we hear rumors that it's a mess and we're putting more fun, but no one ever came out and said it's.
Again, I attribute that to the Will thing.
Can we
Okay.
go back to this poster for a second? Because
Please.
in the chat, Shiny Diver said, I'll laugh my ass off. They put the women in the background. Lame. I hadn't even noticed that, but it is very true.
I was a little
You know-
surprised. Maybe it just depends.
The fact that Harley's in the background. I can understand the other two, but
Yeah.
Harley being in the background.
That is kind of weird. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe that's where women belong, but I mean, that's weird that you would want to put a big star so far back there.
Oh, it's so
Send
fun
all
to
your
sit
email
next
and
to you right
complaints
now,
to
Adam.
Adam Gertler at.
I get the crap that I get sometimes, and that.
Well, because I obviously know he's kidding. Goodwill.
No, everybody knows them. Did they just kill my microphone?
I think you're out. You're gonna have the trap door set for you.
I find it interesting how Enchantress
I don't-
almost looks like she's trying to sneak out of the photo. She's like,
I
I
know
want
that's
none
a
of
good.
this.
Like
that's
out or down from the
Yeah.
photo.
So
Enchantress is like
just off to the right. Just so she's
I
out.
think the ladies are gonna play a huge part in this movie. I think those three will be bigger than Slipknot.
Diablo.
Rick Flag, Diablo. I think they're gonna be bigger than him in this movie. I think it was just.
I think
poor
Diablo
placement.
and Slipknot definitely don't make it out of this
Slipknot's
film
dying.
alive.
Slipknot's dying in the first.
I think
20
Captain
minutes.
Boomerang is definitely making it in the film because like he's going to show up in the Flash movie. I think.
Yeah. Croc staying alive.
Enchantress could also die possibly.
I think Enchantress is definitely going.
I think Katana's sticking around.
I think Katana's sticking around. We know Deadshot's definitely sticking around.
Because I don't think Katana's even going to be that huge of a role.
So I still feel like I don't know how the plot for the Suicide Squad runs concurrent with the Joker story. Like I still feel those are like separate
He's the
stories.
loose cannon.
They're like concurrent.
I don't know.
It's wild. I like how little we know about the plot of this film.
2 months away? 2 months?
About 2 months.
Well, August. Just about August 5th.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Next.
James Wan was quoted this week talking about how to manage the expectations of DC fans. Obviously, we know Aquaman comes out July 27th, 2018, so we have over 2 years to wait. But he said, I think it's a world that is so difficult to control, and always expectations of fans are out of this world, right? No pun intended. I know how hard it is for making Conjuring 2, how much anticipation there is just from the first movie. I think you do the best you can and tell the best story you can.
Relating
Conjuring 2.
Aquaman to Conjuring.
But
Yeah.
just imagine the small scale that I think what he's saying is like on the small scale of these two movies, what I'm dealing with.
He didn't want to diminish Conjuring 2, but
No.
he's saying like this is what it's like on Conjuring 2. Imagine what it's like.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is I think it was well phrased.
Very
and
well phrased.
I do think the DC audience, and not just DC, Marvel comic books in general, like we're tough. It's tough and managing the expectations. So yeah,
Have you guys seen Conjuring?
I'm not a horror fan.
Me neither.
I
think
can't.
it's terrifying.
But
I'm
I
not a
want
horror
to see
fan.
it, and because I just got passes to go see The Conjuring 2.
Oh boy.
So I really want to go see The
It's-
Conjuring, but is it really scary?
This one, The Conjuring 2,
I'll
is
hold your
based
hand on
off
him.
of it's based off of a true story and one of the most terrifying
That's with Patrick Wilson, right?
hauntings that ever happened yet.
That's yeah.
It's those kind of movies really hit too close to home for me because I'm a big paranormal geek.
Okay.
And shit like that is, but it's terrifying.
Juan is saying all the right stuff. He's in a good position. I feel like we heard him flex his muscles a couple of weeks ago, and now I think this is just me, this nerd over here reading the tea leaves. But I feel like
tea leaves.
I'm reading the tea leaves, and I feel like it could be crazy, and maybe I'm being an optimist.
Get to it. I'm excited now. What's going on?
I feel like he's happy with some of the internal changes that have happening, and like what's going on producerally leading into his
I
film.
love that word, producerally.
Yeah, producerally.
You got John's
I
in the
feel like
mix.
he was acting up a little bit, saying stuff, and now I feel like
We got our Feige now.
he made that joke about like, oh yeah, it's gonna be way lighter. I'm gonna put some cameras down there. You're gonna put a lot of Lecos and lights down there.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this film.
And remember, there were rumors, and they were just rumors that he was debating walking off, and there was different
Clearly-
things
Well,
going on.
definitely
clearly
but to
rumors,
me,
but I'm saying that this is him coming out.
the
and
quote
saying,
when he said, if I can make the kind of movie I want to make, it will be like he was basically drawing a line in the sand there.
Right, but
and then
my
there were the
point
rumors
is-
that he was going to walk away.
Well, my point is, I think right now he wants his name to be positively attached to this film. So
Yes.
he's talking about expectations.
Yes.
He's coming out
Fair
with
enough.
Hey, just to let you know, a lot of the chat wants to hear Mikey talk a little bit about Rebirth at some point.
We're gonna zip past
We're gonna
this.
get there. We're gonna get there,
Producer
guys.
Bruce Timm calls Killing Joke the darkest story yet. His quote is, probably the darkest story that has ever been told with those two characters up until that time. The idea of adapting the story always kind of terrified me because of how relentlessly grim and bleak it is, and what happens to Barbara Gordon in the story is still very controversial to this day. And
Yeah.
to piggyback off that, Mark Hamill says, I hope people understand when they say it's R-rated, they mean it.
I'll take this one. Duh.
Yeah.
Like, duh. That's what we knew was happening.
This is like
It's like almost a non-news.
Yeah.
Like I was like, we know it's gonna be this.
this is a dark story, not just because of violence, but because of the type of violence.
Sodomy.
And exactly.
Gross
and
sodomy.
real horrible stuff that
was
goes
like-
on.
branding irons and stuff. From I
Did you
remember in the
hear
comics.
that this story was delayed, the production, twice? Once because of the shooting that happened after Dark Knight Rises. Actually, first because of Watchmen, because of the lukewarm reception of Watchmen.
when they wanted to do it,
They
you're
wanted
saying.
to do it other times, and then again after Dark Knight Rises because of the shooting. It's a really heavy story, and like, listen, people, I don't dislike a dark tone. I like a dark tone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, especially with the Batman story.
Oh yeah.
And this is a classic story, but it's not a crowd pleaser. So I give them a lot of props for even putting it out.
I give them props on all these animated films. They really, it seems like they do 3 a year. 2 of them are set kind of in a new 52-ish.
It's reaching
world.
a much smaller audience, though. You know what I
But
mean?
it's okay. They don't spend a
that is
ton.
okay. That it just means that it's going to be. it's kind of like with the Captain America thing, like all these people reacting to because it was a news item.
Yeah.
And they're not comic book readers, and they're people that are familiar with Captain America and the movies. And like,
I read the comic book and I was just like, oh, okay, it's a new story. He's not going to be really Hydra. It's a trick. In 2 issues, he'll reveal that he wasn't that. And real quick, you mentioned Dark Knight Rises. There was a small little blurb. Mid-July, they're releasing the Nolan trilogy. They released a huge box set when Dark Knight Rises came out, when it had a huge hour-and-a-half long documentary called The Fire Rises. That was only part of this $120 set. They've never released it before. They're releasing that, the DVDs. It's going to be like $22. I'm going to buy it myself because I never got that Blu-ray documentary. So that's out there. It's going to be coming soon. Just check it out Amazon.
I don't own Dark Knight Rises, actually.
You buy this trilogy.
I'm going to get this
all
one,
three, and you get an hour and a half. This documentary was made for this film.
Maybe Mikey Christmas will come and give it to you.
Ho, ho, ho!
Dark Knight was the first Blu-ray I ever bought, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Couldn't wait for that.
All right, what else we got? Because I know we don't have much more time.
Well, really quick, do you want to hit TV time really fast, and then we'll talk Rebirth before we go?
Sure.
We have to at least play the song.
It's time for
Roxy
Striar's TV time. Sing along with me this time. Roxy Striar's TV
What
time.
else, Jimmy?
She thinks that the Flash is fine. DC movie news, it's time to talk.
TV
time.
Okay, so it played, but I guess really what we should have done is talked about Willa Holland during TV time, and we already did.
Yeah, but we
So
kind
she's
of,
gone. Here's the deal. We already mentioned the only thing we have is Preacher. It's airing on Sundays. We didn't get an episode this past week. There was a talking Preacher. That's all we got. I'm really excited for the next episode.
But we can tie into, with Legends of Tomorrow, Character Corner, right?
I finally caught up on my TV. Rex Tyler, I should say, popped up, who was part of the JSA Hour Man. I'm going to go into Character Corner on him soon.
Cool.
I did not like the Flash finale. The final image of John Wesley's ship in the suit got spoiled to me.
Mm-hmm.
I
thought it looked a little silly, too.
It looked
really silly,
but I still loved it. To me, what was better was him meeting Amanda Pays and saying, "Hey, I'm Henry Allen. Hi, I'm Tina McGee." That to me,
that was cool.
McGee, right?
Yeah.
I was like, that to me, the chemistry. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it was
but
awesome.
I was so bummed and then he died because I kind of wanted them to have a little fling.
Yeah, I knew the Iron Mask. That wasn't it was a terrible. The way they shot it was a terrible reveal because you could tell because of his hair. You're like, what's Henry Allen?
Yeah.
I know. I love Grant Gustin. I think he's a great actor, but he just whines. It's almost like. And I thought about it today. It's almost like Amell for the first 2 seasons of Arrow. Okay, how stoic and dark is this guy gonna be? And it's the way it's written, but he just seems like he's always like.
It's so interesting. I thought he nailed it.
So no, I'm not saying he's a great actor. I think he's phenomenal. He's crying when he's on losing his mom, his dad, and I'm like, he's so good. But this Barry Allen, I'm like, okay, it's been 2 seasons. You need to move on from this. It's just like Arrow. He finally got out of that funk he was in for 2 or 3 seasons.
So do you think it's just going to be complete alt reality?
I don't know what they're doing
how
now.
much of season 3 is going to be alt reality?
I have no idea.
It's got to be at least a little bit.
Do you think we're going to see Jesse Quick as a speedster and Wally West as a speedster in this new alt reality?
I don't.
Well, at least in this next season, yes, at some point.
Some people are talking Flashpoint, like.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it seems. I mean, it is the start of Flashpoint. I mean, like right from the comics, and even in Rebirth, they talk about that actual
with his mom being there.
And people are saying the finale is going to change Arrow and Legends as well.
I'm on Legends. I love Legends. The ending of Legends was awesome.
And Supergirl.
How many episodes? Though? Because between Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends, you've got like 80 episodes of television.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Is that all going to weave into one story? I doubt it, but because it just seems too ambitious.
We'll see.
But I know it's going to be a lot in Flash. It's going to be crazy. I'm really, really, really interested to see how this all plays out together.
I'm excited.
Well, with that said, Mikey, people have been clamoring for it. I know you want to talk
about
it. Get into some Rebirth.
Do you guys know what's going on with it? It's like DC's big.
Did you? We talked about it a little bit last week. I did pick it up the day before.
The first issue came out.
And if you're not a comic reader or if you've been away for a while, the Rebirth is a great place to jump in, I think.
It brought me back because I was thinking about it. The New 52, it was like they were like individual stories. Like Batman was good, but I'd go to. It then became Christian Gordon, and at the same time on Justice League, it was
Batman's
Bruce
always
Wayne.
good. I mean,
but it was Bruce Wayne and Batman, so it's just like I'd pick them up for single issues and read the story, and it's fine. But it never had the sense of history. And now the JSA is coming back, and all these legacy characters that
you have the JSA
it
ring.
Felt like I was reading a comic from the '80s again.
Yeah,
and I started picking up the 4 new ones. It just felt like it had history, and they're embracing, and there's hope, and he's still Batman, he's still dark, but
What do you think of this? What do you think of the fact that Jeff Johns wrote this comic, and we know he's not writing any comics for the foreseeable future because he's got this new job? Is that a coincidence? Is that really going to affect the TV and the movie
why I want to talk about
worlds?
that, talking to Roxy on this. I think this is going to filter through everything in DC.
Yeah.
And bring this sense of hope. I mean, how do you feel on that with The Watchmen is now canon?
I think
the
that is
DC
so
universe?
crazy. I mean, it's weird. It's hard to hate it because it's not going to make me like The Watchmen any less. Like,
Right.
that is its own story.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's bold storytelling.
Yeah.
I think it's bold and ballsy, and I dig it.
Jeff Johns has said Dr. Manhattan is not the villain, he's the antagonist.
Okay.
And also think about this. If you've read Rebirth 1, guys, they show a scene with Bruce looking at 3 different Jokers.
That's okay. So what is
they're
that
talking
about?
that one of them might be the comedian.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're saying there's a Mr. Oz character.
Who's saying?
But there were 3 different images in the comic. None of them were the comedian. They were all different versions of the
they're
Joker.
saying one of those is the comedian.
This is all
Blake,
speculation.
Speculation.
Have you picked up any of this week's Rebirth books? Oh, which ones have you
Superman.
read?
They're saying is
So you just got
Dr. Ozymandias, this character, Mr. Oz in Superman's books before it's kind of going into Rebirth. They're saying Pandora from the New 52 was Rorschach, or Question was Rorschach.
Okay.
But here's the great one coming out in Batman next week. There's 2 new heroes introduced to Gotham. It's a guy and a girl.
Right. They're like Team Gotham or something, right? Aren't they
Night
called?
Owl and Silk Spectre.
Oh.
And this is my guess.
Interesting.
Because there was a shot where there's see the bat symbol, and like, should we go? And it's like, no, it's not for us, not yet.
Not yet.
And they look the same, they're the same kind of age-ish.
That's very
So
interesting.
it's folding Watchmen. I think it's a lot of people are saying it's hearsay to mess with that, but
It's heresy.
heresy.
Yeah.
Did I say it wrong? I did.
Hearsay something else, but it's both.
It's
Heresy.
potentially, but I think it's brilliant. Green Arrow and Black Canary are back together. It's just such a good stepping off point. I think.
Wally West is white again,
but the black African American one is still there.
They explain away that they're related.
They're
that
still
was
there.
the wackiest
Both
part
of
to
them
me.
are there.
They're like they had a common relative.
And they did a scene where they showed the Flash talking to Bruce, and it was just like in Batman Superman. It was just like he's like, oh, wrong time. I'm not strong enough. I can't be pulled through.
Yes.
And it was all about Wally West being trapped in the Speed Force, and Ozymandias or Dr. Manhattan
Which,
took
if you
10
watch
years
the
away
show,
from.
you can relate to. That's why
Yes.
it was great to watch the season 2 finale, and then the next day I picked up Rebirth, and then it even mentions that Flashpoint thing.
Yeah, and
so
he's trapped in the Speed Force, and he goes to like Iris, and Iris's love is not enough to pull him out, but he goes and finds Barry, and it was Barry's love and their bond that pulled him out. And it's just this moment, I'm like getting teared up reading it. You're just like, oh my God, it just brought everything back, and like they're all back, and the 10 years of their lives were wiped away. Now they have to figure out like what happened.
Well,
and just think about it. You've got Ozymandias, who's the smartest man in the world, versus Batman, the world's greatest detective. Can you imagine the stories that would happen with the 2 of them?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And just the idea that, with Dr. Manhattan, he refers in the comic, the original Watchmen, about how he is in all these places at once and how little time means. They sort of infer their own multiverse in Watchmen.
Yeah.
And so that's playing with that idea. The idea of the multiverse
That
is
fits well
these
then.
things are all real, even though they're all separate. Reality is subjective.
And in the comics, one of the Earths is the Charleston characters, which is Rorschach, Question, Blue Beetle, which Frank Miller wanted to use for the Watchmen characters, but they couldn't at the time, so he created these new characters.
Right.
So there is a multiverse with those characters.
And now, what about this? Okay, so someone,
the chat?
Yeah, somebody in the chat just said the New 52. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. New 52 is like a bad dream. They refer to the New 52 as and then there was something like 10 years. Lamantia. 10 years were taken away, and everybody appeared younger, which is the New 52.
Yeah.
So it was weird. And then so the Superman, so they killed the New 52 Superman.
He's gone.
And then the current Superman is what? The old Superman who's been
hiding out.
living?
Yeah, he's been hiding, but he's the classic barrel-chested,
Which
adult
is good to
Superman.
see again, because I gotta say, I did not like the high neck collar. As much as I love John Romita Jr.'s art,
I know.
I love his art, and I hope he continues. I really miss Superman looking like Superman.
Matthew Leach, I just saw you in the chat there. He said the BvS soundtrack goes great with Rebirth. I have to say, I was listening to that soundtrack when I was reading Rebirth too, and it was so good. It got me emotional reading it. It fits so perfectly. So
All
Matthew
right.
Leach, buddy, absolutely, pal. That
Good
looks
stuff.
fantastic. Rebirth, pick it up, guys. Go give him a shot. I'm so excited for Wonder Woman. So excited.
We could even try to add in a little Rebirth section every day after TV time, perhaps.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. TV. It's gonna
I'm
be.
gonna read it.
You got it. They're so good. Just Batman, Superman, Green Arrow, and Green
New 52
Lanterns
never
came out.
really sucked me in. I tried, and I just couldn't get excited. Like, the books, they started to pile up. I know when I get a bunch of comics, like, which ones I have to read right away, and I'd be looking at those comics, and it felt like a chore.
I was reading Batman.
Always
and
the
Justice
Batman
League,
first.
and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
I slowly, over the 5 years, dwindled down to maybe 5 books a month, and it sucked.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention: the news that The Rock is now going to play Doc Savage. How do you think that affects the Shazam?
I know.
Shazam!
Okay.
Someone wanted me to say Shazam. I just did.
It just further pushes
loud.
Mikey's point.
I think you said it last week. You don't think it's happening.
No. I said I did think it's happening. He didn't think it's happening.
He just signed on for Doc Savage.
So
now.
weird.
I was like, he's done. Rock. Everyone wants him in his movies. He's too busy.
So weird.
Come on.
I know.
Let's say he does. God, let's say he never has time for his family. He does
Roxy's gonna read a comic.
2 or 3 movies a year.
I'm still.
So he has no time for his family. No, I think all he can do is movies. So he's got 3 movies a year he can do.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems weird. It seems. And then one other thing, we are starting to wind down now. I just wanted to mention that the Flash movie, it's supposed to premiere March 16th, I believe, 2018. And then a week later is Ready Player One, Spielberg's film. Big similarity there. So do you think that there's a chance that I mean, I know DC has been moving some dates around.
I think some
do you
dates
think
are going to move?
Because that's like too big. I mean, to only give it 1 week to dominate the box office.
This
Ready Player One's going to be huge.
From what I understand, or from what I gather, the people that have read the book are so excited for this movie. I have no idea anything about
But there's
it.
still 2 years for
You're
it to
right,
hype
you're
up.
right.
And it's like
Spielberg.
Steven
It's Spielberg.
Spielberg returning to his old school fantasy blockbuster
But
with I think it's going to be huge.
Let me ask you this. What was the last Spielberg movie? Was it Crystal Skull?
It was Bridge over the River Spies.
Oh.
He is not.
I think that's it.
You know,
his cachet is. He's done more like Lincolns and stuff like that.
He's Goodwill through the wazoo.
Yeah.
I love his films, but
BFG is coming good.
who
Hearing good
knows
things about BFG.
where it sucks because nowadays it almost seems like superhero movies. That's what gets the box office, and these filmmakers, everything else is kind of sidelined to them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're saying Goodwill. Let's say Wonder Woman's fantastic, Suicide Squad's fantastic, Justice League kills. I think the fans will want Flash.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
no, absolutely.
If we keep going.
Listen, ultimately, it always builds off of your last film. So if Suicide Squad crushes, what?
Someone in the chat, Ted Kord's back. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Ted
right,
Kord.
right,
To see
right.
Ted Kord there, and Ray Palmer was stuck in the microverse. Ray Palmer, Ted Kord, all these great characters that I forgot
so
because
good.
the New 52 just kind of.
Oh, and
threw
Dark
them
Knight.
away.
Did you read Dark Knight Master Race 4?
Yes, I'm up. It's good.
I love it.
I should have waited till I had them all because
I
now
have
I'm
a great
like
time.
piecemeal.
They
I'm like,
go too fast. I'm loving the Dark
I
Knight
am.
books.
I'm loving it.
That because it feels like it exists in that world, which is very separate.
Yes.
And again, not
much,
to get back
much
to the
better
movie,
than
but
the Dark Knight. Was it 3 or
2? Strikes again.
Speaking of Spielberg, Charlie Oates in chat roll says that Spielberg should also make E.T. 2: The Revenge.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Why not?
And it's going to be rated R.
Yeah, let's do it. A lot of
Yeah.
sensuality.
A lot of
A
sensuality.
lot of E.T. sensuality.
That glowing
makes
finger
sense.
goes
That
places
said,
that you cannot
yes,
fathom.
it does. I think that's pretty much a show. That's a good way to end it. Adam Gertler, put yourself over.
Yes, well, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch me on FX Movie Download Friday nights on FX. Man vs. Child, new episodes are coming back really soon. If you live in the Los Angeles area, I also happen to play harmonica with a band called the Freedom Ledges, and we have made it to the final round of an emerging artist competition.
Wow.
We'll be playing at Rusty Surf Ranch June 23rd. So if we win that night, then I guess we get to open for some bands in the summer series. So if you're around, we'd love to have you June 23rd at Rusty Surf Ranch, the Freedom Legends. Check us out online.
Roxy, go.
Guys, I'm Roxy Striar. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar. We're in the middle of our championship series over at Screen Junkies TV Fights. So on Tuesday at 4 p.m., Matt Lieberman, Sasha Pearl Raver, your girl, and Hal Rudnick will be duking it out to win the championship belt. So make sure to check that out.
Wait, I won once. Why wasn't I in the Tournament of Champions?
They've won more than you have.
I've lost.
Higher percentage.
It's like college football, right? Like you can never keep the stats straight.
Well, it's because Clark Quasto is undefeated, but Jonny Loquasto's
Lost many.
both times. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm at Mike. I put myself over.
Yeah, put yourself.
At Mike Kalinowski on Twitter. You can find me on Character Corner. Going to be talking about Our Man coming up very soon. Who just made his appearance on Legends. Go read Rebirth, guys. Really good. Give it a shot. Do all the one-shots or the little one-shots.
I know that we've all cosplayed at one time or another, and I know our fans like to cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last week I happened to do a really funny show at the I.O. West.
I was there.
And Adam was there. And this was me as Harley Quinn.
Look
Shout
at the
out.
balls on that guy.
Yeah, shout out to Alexis Torres for hooking me up with all the Harley Quinn gear, and I think, how was my accent when I came out screaming?
It was really good. It was a really good Harley Quinn. It was a whacked out show, and then at some point somebody fell from the top balcony.
Yes,
and it was a really good live wrestling stunt. It was really horrific that somebody just fell from the top balcony.
It was the Joker. I got to use I got to hit him in the tummy.
This guy was dressed like the '89 Joker, and he even did some of the dance moves from the museum.
You kind of look like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Very much so.
I'll take it. All right, so anyways, I'm at the American Comedy Company all this weekend in San Diego, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Coming up, I'm going to be on the East Coast actually starting next week, so I won't be here, damn it. Big shows coming up. June 15th, I'll be headlining in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. 17th in Pittsburgh. I'll be in New York City on June 10th. And that's pretty much it. And also, Wrestling Compadre Slamcast, we just announced we are officially moving to Fox Sports the week of June 29th, which is very exciting. So please follow us at Wrestling Buds. Other than that, anything else, gang?
Shazam!
Shazam! Shazam!
They keep asking me to say Shazam.
Oh, yeah.
Next
if we did everything they said, then I'd be doing Bane Cat all week.
Shazam!
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.
I promise you, the dawn is coming.